If y'all don't want to go to work, just put this shit on right now.
What makes a great skill? That's a question I asked at my last video, and I'm asking it in this video. I think that's a very hot topic right now, especially with sailing coming out soon. Well, not soon, but sailing coming out within the next couple years, hopefully. What makes a great skill? That's a very good question, and I'll tell you guys right off the bat, I do not have the answer. Uh, I'm just a regular RuneScape player. I like training my skills. I like slaying. I like skilling. I like cutting yew trees. I like burning yew logs. I like fletching. Whatever it is, I just enjoy playing the game. My numbers go up, I'm happy. So when sailing, shamanism, taming, new skill, number go up, my dopamine through the roof, right? But I do want to break it down and kind of talk about what I think makes a great skill. Um, but before I get into what I think, gameplay wise, what you guys are looking at on the Iron Man, I've haven't been grinding the Iron Man too much. I've mostly been focusing so I finished Mage Training Arena. Well, I haven't finished it. I got my Infinity boots. I still have a bit of work to do if I want to get Bones to Peaches, but I'm not going to be too worried about grinding Bones to Peaches out until I'm going to God Wars dungeon, and I need to get Barrows first. So I got a whole lot of things I need to do before I actually want to grind out Bones to Peaches. I was really mostly just there to actually train my mage up, so I'm just taking a break from mage training and just trying to knock out some of these diary requirements. So I'm working on the Varrock diary, and I think I actually have all the requirements done for it. I'm just kind of doing a side quest now to get my kudos up. So here I'm just working on the quest A Tale of Two Cats, because if you don't know, some quests, all you have to do is complete it and then just talk to the guy in the Varrock Museum and you get 5 kudos. This is one of those quests, so just knocking some of these quests out when I can. And the gameplay right now you're looking at is me trying to figure out how the hell do I use this talisman. I eventually end up just giving up, googling how to use it, and you'll see the video cut there. But so that's what you guys are watching gameplay wise, kind of where I'm at on my Iron Man progress. Still just training crafting on my main, and just doing some random bullshit here and there. But so to get into the skill talk, there was a comment left. I forget his name, but I'll read it here. I have the screenshot of it. He says it's hard to see how it can be. So this is about sailing. First off, it's hard to see how it can be anything other than dungeoneering on the sea. Like, how is it going to be useful outside of sailing? It's difficult to argue against that. I'm on team sailing. I'm ready to hit the high seas. I think people need to look at the fact that we've had all these oceans and the seas in RuneScape the whole time. We've all thought about sailing off Port Sarim, making our own way to Karamja and Trana, actually doing the voyage to Crandor. Well, to do that, you gotta sail, and sailing's a skill. You can't put any dude off the street on a boat and expect him to be able to use it. It's complicated. The seas of Gillinor are not some obscure hole in the ground that randomly changes. They have been there the whole time, full of mystery and unexplored potential. If we want to see what's out there, we got to learn how to sail. That is a great point, right? Like, and what he says here is you can't take a random guy off the street and put him on a boat and expect him to sail. That's so true. And if you think about any skill in RuneScape, you can't take a guy off the street and expect him to know how to burn the highest level log in the game. Or maybe you can, right? Think about other you can't take a random guy off the street and expect him to make a super combat potion. You got to start low. You got to start with the regular combat potion, and before the combat you need to be able to make regular attack potions, regular strength potions. So sailing should be no different, right? So, we got to train our sailing. But I think a large majority of the issues from the community come from how are we going to train sailing, right? Like, the RuneScape team hasn't really gave us a concrete answer on how we're gonna train sailing apart from trimming our sails and sailing, right? And is that the main way we train? Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. It would make sense, Agility, you don't get agility XP just running around. Maybe there's some sort of sailing course that you have to do to train. Maybe there's some sort of just regular course you have to train. Go to the Varrock Museum and sit down, or go to Port Sarim and sit down with a pirate and take a quiz. Maybe that's how you get unlock sailing. And then your first sailing is you need to run through the sailor starter course, right? So there's a lot of unanswered questions around sailing, which I think why the backlash from the community is so negative, right? There's so many unknowns. And like I said in my last video, Jagex needs to come to the community with a sales pitch for this skill, right? I think there are a lot of people who are very excited for sailing. When sailing first dropped, when the skills were released, my two preferences were for taming and sailing. So my first vote was for taming because I never got to play summoning, so I thought that would be cool. Fits right into the game, But, there are a lot of downsides to that, I think, as well, but I don't want to get into that as well. So I did want sailing. It's a cool concept. And, like this guy said in the comment, that the seas, the sea is just full of mystery and unexplored potential. And it's just, how is the RuneScape team going to sell that as a skill, right? Because if you think of what makes a great skill, I would say multiple different ways of training, right? So, for example, an easy skill to kind of break down, it would be, I guess it's not easy, but a skill to break down is Slayer, right? So to train Slayer, there's only one way to train it, sort of, slay monsters. But in doing so, there's a variety of different ways you can slay monsters. So if you want to slay easy monsters, boost your points up so you can skip high level tasks and get, better XP rates. That's one way of training. Or if you just want to slay the highest monsters you can get, that's another way of training. So, and everybody's favorite skill is Slayer. Well, not everybody's, but I think a large majority of people really love Slayer, myself included. When I first started my Iron Man, I just really wanted to rush Slayer. And there's all these, different skills you got to get up before training or combat. You need food, potions, whatnot to actually be efficient with it. But, it's so hard. And if you think about fire making, nobody's going to want fire making as a new skill right now, right? And look at my frame rates dropping on my laptop. That's what I get for questing, right? Yeah, so nobody's gonna want fire making. If the community, if the RuneScape team pitched fire making to the community now, it would feel terrible, right? What is fire making gonna do? It would have it'd be why the hell do I want to make a fire just to cook on? I can cook at a stove, right? But when we're introducing sailing, that's a cool concept for a skill, right? So how is that skill gonna feel in game, I think, is a big question that everybody has, and I think the RuneScape team is trying to answer that with all their blog posts. They're trying to put out feelers, get some feedback from the community, see what works, what doesn't, because they don't want to go down a rabbit hole and then come back to us and everybody just says, no, that's disgusting, restart. They're trying to do it incrementally. I understand that. I'm a developer. You got to do stuff incrementally. Otherwise, it's just a huge time waste. But with other skills and sailing, there needs to be concrete tangibles which make a great skill, right? Like for agility shortcuts make that skill good and helpful, useful, right? Are there going to be sailing shortcuts? Magic, fast travel with teleports, different teleports throughout the game. Is sailing going to offer any fast travel to an island, right? Am I going to have to sail my boat every time? It would be nice to, just run to the boat, fast travel to an island if I want to go kill a monster on this specific island that's nowhere else in the game. Or maybe I want to fast travel to a certain part of the sea that I found earlier, right? And you shouldn't be able to fast travel to explore. You should have to explore to explore. And then that's another thing, right? How is the exploration going to work? You know, that's it'll be interesting to see. I picture something like star mining, where a star just falls down on the ground, but then at the end of the day, star mining has become, there's discords now to scout stars. And that's, that kind of takes away the exploration aspect because the stars all spawn in the same spot. So they're definitely, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? Like I got 99 mining through star mining while AFKing at work, and I love having a website where I can go to check where the closest star to me is. So I just go to there. But is that going to work on the sea? That kind of defeats the whole exploration part of it. But it you got to be consistent across the game as well. So there are all these different factors, I think, and when we're working on a skill that you got to think about. And I'm not saying I have the answer. I just like to kind of break it down and think about it. And I like to get your guys' feedback, like that comment earlier. It's cool to hear your guys' feedback and perspective on these skills, on RuneScape in general, sailing, whatever it is. I like to hear you guys' feedback. It's really cool. So another thing to think about though is, what are the rewards for this skill? Like if we think about come back to Slayer, the reward is, you get to kill high level monsters that nobody else can kill. Araxor being one of them, new Slayer boss. You got to get halfway to 99 to kill him. If you think about the attack skill, you need to level that up to wield better weapons. Hit points. The reward is you get more life. Fire making, you can burn better logs, right? Like, well, I guess that's as you increase the skill, that's what you unlock. So I guess with the skill, obviously as you become a better sailor, you're gonna unlock better boats. But what do these better boats offer you? So are these better boats only gonna be better for sailing deeper into the seas, or are there gonna be different features on these boats which not only improve quality of life, but offer me a better chance to make more money, right? Like I think that's going to be a big thing with sailing, is how does the money making work? And apart from just going and exploring an island and looting it, I can't really see how else you'll make money on this. Maybe it would be cool if there could be some sort of boat exchange, right? Like if you get experience from helping other people sail, you could charge them a fee if you help them sail or sail their boat for them. And you get a little bit of experience, but so do they, and then it's AFK for them and you're getting paid, right? Like there are a lot of different things that sailing could offer as a reward. And a lot of other skills offer, high potential for reward. Like Slayer is the easiest one to think about, right? Because you unlock these high level bosses which drop high level, items that are worth millions of dollars or millions of gold. But if you think about for example, mining or woodcutting, right? The reward is unlocking new items that give you more profit. So with mining, at 85 mining, you can you can mine runite ore. And that's a pretty good money making method if you just want to mine runite ore. So maybe with sailing, as you unlock better boats, you get better rewards. You can add a bank chest on your boat, which would be pretty cool. Like not having to worry about going to a bank. I'm not saying that that might be game breaking, right? Like that might add some new metas, but it's interesting to think about. And there's just a lot of potential for sailing, and kind of looking at how other skills interact with this game, I think is a good way to think about sailing and kind of conceptualize it as a skill. You know, what's the purpose of sailing? Obviously to go on the water. Yeah, it's interesting to think about. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments of what you guys think a great skill makes. I know I said that in the last video, but I still genuinely want to see your guys' response as well. I do like seeing what you guys are, kind of what you guys think about skilling in RuneScape, because everybody has a different perspective on it. Yeah, if you guys like this video, drop a like. If you guys dislike the video, drop a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time.
Stand on business, yup. Stand on business, yup. Stand on business, yup. Stand on business, okay.